End of the weekend, great day out at the track here today, but unbearably hot. Lando Norris was saying he thought his body temperature was up at around 40 degrees and in the cockpit probably 60 Celsius. Let's go back to the start of the morning though. Max arrived to a guard of honour with lots of Red Bull crew waiting to congratulate him on his magnificent third World Championship. Before the start of the race, I went over to Champions Club at the first turn and photographed Nico Rosberg doing a presentation. And on the way there, somebody starts shouting, "Jeremy Fragrance, Jeremy Fragrance." Now, if you don't know who Jeremy Fragrance is, this is what he looks like. And for some reason, they thought Nico was him. Nico, well, he was just totally perplexed. I ended up shooting the start of the race from there, and excuse the noise, because as you can see here, there's quite a bit going on. But I shot the start from there, and I managed to get the tail end of the crash with Lewis Hamilton. And what amazed me was that he walked back along the track while the cars were still there. I didn't think that was allowed. I ended up shooting from the top level of the paddock, looking down onto the pit stops, and it was quite magical because there were so many, because the teams could only run their cars for, 18 laps because of degradation. Out in Parc Ferme at the end of the race, I was right next to Raymond Vermeulen, which is Max's manager, and Max's dad Jos, and I had Lando Norris right in my face. I had Max coming over and chatting with his dad, so the pictures were very up close and personal, which was delightful. But what about the podium with the champagne? Well, you can't call it champagne, I don't even know what it was, some sort of sticky liquid. But there was no froth in it. It was absolutely horrible. It didn't look that great where I was, and certainly on telly it would look very ordinary. Congratulations to Max Verstappen, who clinched his third World Drivers' Championship here in Qatar after the sprint race. Unusual to be celebrating a win on Saturday night, and that had one particular, impact on the celebration, in so much as normally Red Bull sprays that sticky soft drink everywhere when they celebrate something, but they couldn't because, well, not initially, because they held their celebration out front of the garage, and the FIA said, no way are you allowed to have Red Bull on the ground, because of course there is a race on Sunday. So they did some photos in front of the garage, and then we all moved up about 200 metres to an area where there would be no cars, and that's where the spraying of the Red Bull took place. Interestingly, they had planned to do 4 of the yays. However, after the first one, and not even before the second one, Checo Perez just upped and took off because he did not want to be covered in that sticky substance. And pretty much once one goes, all goes. It was a bit unfortunate for Oscar Piastri too that he didn't really get a chance to celebrate that first win, even though it was a sprint race, because Max had won his third championship. So Max's car took pride of place. We had all the excitement of Max celebrating his championship win after finishing second in a race. But great to see Lando Norris back up on the podium. He was pretty disappointed about quali on Friday. However, I did spot this particular piece of gaffer tape. And have a look at the message on it. Just a reminder to the young Brit to keep it on the track. Favourite pictures from the weekend? I like this one. Very simple picture of Logan Sargent walking to the FIA garage down pit lane with his trainer Benny Jacobs. And speaking of Logan, I got him to sign 50 prints on Thursday. Did you know where this photo was taken?
Well, it has to be Singapore.
Yeah. And as I do with most drivers, I asked him to pick one print and do something special on it. I'm delighted you're giving it such due consideration too.
I could draw a Miami Dolphins helmet. There's no way I could draw a dolphin.
Yeah, you can.
Mate.
Whatever you draw is yours, so it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
it doesn't
There's
matter,
no way
yeah.
you're getting marked on it. This is funny.
Just do the emblem and then
Mate.
just go fins up. Interesting you've gone that first.
Shut up, mate. Alright, this is the hard part.
It's a fair effort.
Yeah, that's good. Here we go.
It's not terrible.
Boom.
And what number print is that? Well, you don't know. I do, but it goes to someone who's just lucky enough to pick the right numbered print. Now going back to, I'll guess here, 2018, I caught Fred Vassar in this fun pose. Well, I fluked it again this race. He was coming down the stairs of the Ferrari hospitality suite. There were a couple of Ferrari photographers at the base of the stairs photographing him coming down. I just happened to walk past, get my camera, and bang, I get this fun pose from the Ferrari team boss. Now, I was here in 2021 and we had a completely different paddock than what we've got now. And it is, in fact, the longest paddock that we have. By day, yeah, not so flash. But by night, this place absolutely sparkles. And this sort of signage here, which is quite magnificent, sort of reminds me a bit of New York's Times Square.
Fred, have you ever been to Times Square? I was there last week. It doesn't look like that.
Bonjour, monsieur.
Bonjour, monsieur.
Sure.
Actually looks good, doesn't it?
Oh, it's stunning, absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So well done to the guys that put it together.
That's it.
Okay. Good to see you. Some additions at the track that we don't see in, say, Europe or Australia. Prayer rooms for each of the sexes, and even when you're coming into the track, there are 2 sets of scanners, one for men and one for women. And what about our media centre? It's brand new, like the whole of the paddock, built in 8 months. A pretty impressive effort. This is the media centre, and oftentimes we're given gifts when we get to a race, like this bucket hat from the LaSalle Circle, it's nice, and of course a rug. Yeah, a rug from IKEA. Why? Because while it's 40 degrees outside, in here it's about 18. And come the middle of the afternoon, it's so cold that guys are sitting around editing with a rug on. But next door to our room, there's a cafe which has a pool table, simulators, table tennis, foosball, and plenty of food and drink. And on the subject of drink, up in the corporate suites, there's no alcohol visible. But if you ask, they'll serve it. F1 teams need a lot of content to, I guess, sate the appetite of their fans, and I found Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon out on the deck of the hospitality suite on Thursday night playing this game. Maybe by the time you're watching this, it's already been posted on their social media channels. Let's look at the extraordinary goings-on after qualification on Friday night. I was in Parc Ferme. Now, first of all, you've got to know that I'm not listening to anything. I don't know what's going on. All I know is that Max Verstappen's walked up, past the number 1 board and gone to greet his crew. So at that point I realised he didn't complete the session. Then I see Lando Norris sit on his car for a few seconds and then finally get out, walks towards us, is greeted by one of his crew, sits down, and then I see Roman go up and have a word in his ear. I'm thinking, what's that about? And then I see him walk away with his helmet. And next thing you know, I see Oscar's out there. I thought, oh, hello, there's something going on there. And remember, if you're watching this on telly, you know way more than I do. So Oscar's standing there for a little bit, and then Roman goes over to him and has a chat in his ear, and then there's great indecision. George is going, what? And then I gather he's been ousted as well, and someone said, well, you may as well join the photo, which was my post that I put up, the podium as it was at that stage. Well, technically he'd already been ousted, but Lewis was obviously nowhere to be found. But later on I did find him in the press conference room, where he was, I guess, quite delighted to realise 2 above him had been ruled out. Now, I can't get through a whole video without telling you just how bloody hot it is during the day here, but thankfully, at night, it calms down a little. I found Mick Schumacher and Jack Doohan sitting in the paddock having a chat, 2 reserve drivers. Other reserve drivers there, Felipe Drugovich and also Antonio Giovinazzi. Still on the subject of Mick, on Friday I found him having a go at photography using one of the Mercedes photographer's cameras. He just arrived, and behind him was his girlfriend Leila Hasanovic. She came in with Sabine Kem, Mick's manager, and Leila is immensely popular on social media. Other partners, who did we have? Kelly Piquet looking absolutely radiant on Saturday in this white outfit, and the same can be said for Nico Hülkenberg's wife, Sunny. I've mentioned in one of my earlier videos that Nico Hülkenberg has got rid of the umlaut above his U, but I did spot this signage at the track, and of course they have a number of different setups that they send around via sea freight. So this one was sent many months ago before they decided to take off the umlaut. But on Sunday, I came back and took this shot, and it had been corrected. And just as an aside, here are 2 photographers who have never met, but on Friday they were almost dressed as twins. Oh, and one other thing. I have to go now, so here's the outro. Well, that's about all I've got to tell you, but before you go, please hit the like button and subscribe for those of you who have not yet done so. And if you're looking for a whole lot of interesting stuff, here are all my content and links. Head there and have a look. Thanks for watching, and stay passionate. Oh, my bloody lens keeps fogging up because the media centre's so bloody cold. Speak wipe. Sorry about the lens fogging up.